We built btwb to support independent gyms. These gym owners have unique journeys that led them to create incredible communities in their towns or cities all around the world. Spotlight is going to help tell these stories and celebrate these people. All right, Bryan, man, I appreciate you making time this morning to chat about your gym.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
And so you are CrossFit Second Wave. Where did that name come from?
CrossFit Second Wave, ironically came out. We opened the gym during the second wave of COVID, but
Amazing.
we had already decided on a name, and it was the second wave of adaptation to
Yes.
exercise.
Yes, yes. That's
So
where I thought you were going to go with it.
that's what it was.
Okay.
Uh, so I had the name. I decided on the name, and everyone's like, "Hey, this is really bad timing with the second wave of
Yeah,
COVID." I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I think uh, no, we're sticking with the name. We're gonna go with it." And
just
if
double down. I love it.
yeah,
Good Texas
yeah,
spirit right there.
I was like, "Well, we moved from New York. So we moved from
Oh,
New York
that's right.
City,
You said
moved
you're
to
East Coast
Texas.
transplant.
Yeah, I'm from Connecticut. My wife is from Maine. We had been living in New York for 12 or 13 years. And we
Okay.
decided we decided we're gonna well, we decided we're gonna move. Checked out Dripping Springs, Texas, because a friend of mine had bought a building here and had a CrossFit gym in the building. So we came down and looked at it in January of 2020. Uh,
Okay.
so we came down, checked it out. We're like, hey, we probably need to take a few more looks at this. We don't know Texas that well. We don't know the area. It seems a little bit slow for us coming from New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Fast forward, 3 weeks, no one's going anywhere.
Right.
We're kind of locked in place in our apartment and locked down New York City style. So yeah, a few months later, we're like, let's just go. My wife was pregnant at the time, so we're like, as soon as you have that baby, we're getting out of here. We moved when he was 2 weeks old. So
Oh man. And so it's funny. I'm from the East Coast as well. I'm born and raised in Massachusetts. I've got some family from Maine also.
okay,
And I currently live in Washington State. And not to suddenly derail this entire video, but my wife and I are trying to figure out ways to leave Washington State. And I don't know how in the world it crossed our path. No joke, but Dripping Springs, Texas crossed our path and is like on one of our lists.
I mean everybody's in Dripping Springs. It's crazy. I don't know if you know Matt Loden,
Oh, yeah, it's
who's
beast.
yeah, he's coaching at our gym in an hour. He's in Dripping Springs. We had Don Fall, CrossFit
Mhm.
CEO. His parents live in Dripping Springs. He
Interesting.
randomly he randomly showed up to the gym one day, and I was like, "Oh hey," because he bought a drop, and I'm like, Don Fall. I'm like Don Fall, the CEO of CrossFit.
That's
I was
right.
like,
That's
hey, and he was going to Matt's class just
okay.
arbitrarily. I'm like, FYI, Matt, your boss is going to be at your class. So
Put him through the meat
he's like,
grind.
he's like, sounds good.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
do it.
cool. That's and
So yeah,
all good in Dripping Springs. You give it two thumbs up.
yeah, Dripping Springs is awesome. It's a great community. It's a suburb of Austin. It's about 20 minutes or so from Austin, but you get
Okay.
it's a real big shift from Austin to here. It's like night and day.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, I'll have to pick your brain offline about that, but let's get to CrossFit
yeah.
Second Wave, man. If somebody, doesn't know about your hasn't been there before, maybe I'm going to visit, or if somebody's passing through Dripping Springs, they're in Austin, they see this video, they're going to take a 20-minute ride out there. Like, how would you describe your gym, your culture, your vibe? Like, what's it all about?
So we're kind of a traditional old school CrossFit. Where like you come in, there's a workout on the board. We go through a briefing, whiteboard briefing on a whiteboard, not on a screen. We go through your general warm up. I've been coaching CrossFit for 10 years. We're from like all the virtuosity, CrossFit virtuosity.
Mm-hmm.
Old school. Keith
Oh
Wittenstein and
yeah.
all that whole crew. That's my original days of CrossFit. So yeah, we teach it. We teach it the way it was meant to be taught, or at least I like to think we do. Whereas you get it very much soup to nuts, warm up to cool down. teaching movement, but also it's very friendly, opening vibe. It's not super competitive. Most of the people we have in there are, we got some really good athletes, former collegiate athletes, former pro athletes, a lot of like, Navy SEALs and special operations guys. But everyone's, CrossFit and fitness isn't their primary goal in life anymore. It's their family, their career, and they're just trying to stay in shape. So
Very cool.
it's not ultra competitive, but it's filled with competitive people at the same token. So people want to come in, they want to move safely, they want to stay strong, and they want to stay safe.
Is it mainly people in their 20s, 30s, 40s? Do you have a little bit of everything, or does it vary by class?
I would say 30s and 40s. Most of
Okay.
the people have, kids that are anywhere from, infants to, early, teenagers. So it's
They're
in
in
that,
that phase of life.
yeah, phase of life. This area really kind of exploded. It's kind of like a boom town, they call it. It's like the modern day boom town of Dripping Springs, Texas. So we got a lot of people who just have young kids. We have a 4 and a 6-year old. We got there's like 4 pregnant women at the gym right now. One just gave birth, a few weeks ago. So everyone's really much in the kind of young family phase. And we have some people who have some high school kids who have been here for 5 or 6 years, or 10 years, or 15 years. But for the most part, it's people who just moved here from a lot from the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest, California are the big ones. Also a bunch from the East Coast. I think there's a massive influx of people, from California, New York, Chicago,
Okay.
St. Paul, Minneapolis area, and just kind of jumped ship where they were from during COVID, and kind of came to Texas for a little bit less of a restrictive approach to the pandemic.
For sure. Yeah, understandable. What was just gonna say, I was poking around your website before we chatted this morning, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw something on your website which I don't see that frequently. Do you guys have 24-hour gym access?
Yeah, so we use the it's called the Hybrid AF.
Okay.
It's an app that we have 24-hour access. If you're a member, you can access the gym anytime it's not being used by a class.
No kidding. That's very
Yeah,
cool. How was have you been doing that since day one, or what was the decision to go and offer that as something people can choose?
yeah, we've been doing that since day one.
Really?
We're in New York. We were. I thought it would be really cool if people had that. And you can make it an add-on membership. You could make it something that only you know competent, good movers, people who are a little more advanced use. But we kind of keep it open to whoever needs it. I know people around here are busy. Everyone's got a demanding career. Kids are playing 3 sports. They're
Sure.
constantly running around. Sometimes you can't fit a class in, or the class just doesn't work for you, and you want to get the workout in, or you want to work on your pull-ups or your handstand walks or whatever it is in between classes, and we just want to make that accessible without the burden of having a coached you know person there, someone there to be at the gym 24/7.
Well, and what's been the reality of that? Because I don't want to speak for a bunch of gym owners, but I would think that most gym owners would be like, actually sounds cool. My fear is that at 1 a.m. somebody's in there dropping a snatch on their head. Like, that's probably the worst case. You're like, what's been your actual reality of how it's gone?
It's used by a few people consistently, but most people just, you get to the gym before the coach, or you want to show up a half an hour early. Hey, I got this shoulder thing I have going on. My
Yeah,
physical
yeah.
therapist gave me some exercises to do before the workout. I'll show up a half hour before class, do my PT, sitting there waiting for class to start. So yeah, that's really it. Some people go in there and work out on their own. Some people just, they want to do their own thing and will come in. But for the most part, it's a couple people who, use it on a regular basis, go to classes when they can, but, prioritize getting a workout in over going to a class.
Man, I
So yeah,
loved it. Personally, I
yeah,
saw it. I loved it immediately.
yeah, it's great. We have 3 cameras in the gym. And we get a notification when somebody accesses the door. Right. So if you were to go in the gym, I would get a pop up on my phone that says Pat Sherwood has accessed the gym. And then if it's like, if somebody, I'm worried about, I just, cameras are on. They record 2 weeks of footage, so I know if someone's doing something unsafe, and I could be like, hey, pull them aside, or just call them up, be like, hey, just make sure you're not doing anything crazy in there. I
Hey,
could
watch
talk to them.
at night from my phone in bed and I had nightmares all night.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been too bad. We haven't had anyone do anything dangerous.
Yeah, I love it. I
There's
think it's really cool, quite frankly.
Yeah, and like we're in an area that's really safe, and we have good people at the gym. There's no one at the gym I don't trust to go into the gym and act inappropriately. There's we don't have high school kids that go in there and like throw parties or anything. So
So is Dripping
uh,
Springs a big small town, or is it just a small town?
it's hard to say. They still have a sign that says population like 1,700 or something, but there's probably closer to 10 or 15,000 people.
Okay. How do
So
people
it's
find out about your gym? How do you get new members?
uh, it's usually word of mouth, or people look up CrossFit on Google Maps, and it pops right up there. So but yeah, most of the people find out through word of mouth. We did some advertising when we first opened, and I didn't really think it paid for itself. Even the
I
little
hear
bit of
that
money
from
we
so
spent
many
on.
gym owners, man.
I'm like, hey, if you like our gym and you like what we do here, tell your friends. If they ask you, hey, I'm looking for a gym, I'm just tell them to come here. We appreciate it. So yeah, and that's how you find people. And then their friends are at the gym, and then they're more likely to show up because they're like, "Oh, my buddy's gonna come. He's coming to the 12:30 class. I got to meet him there, or is he gonna give me a hard time?" And it's like you get more accountability through your friends being at the gym. So
You know what else is really cool about that? Is you can't fake it. I mean, you can fake an advertisement and rant and rave about how beautiful everything is and how wonderful everything is, but somebody who's actually paying you for your service, they're not going to recommend that somebody that they know and is going to, hold their reputation accountable. They're not going to vouch for your gym unless it's actually fun, unless what you're doing actually works and it's really getting them fitter. Like it's an immediate validation that what you're doing in your gym is working if most of your members are coming from people who are already there. So that in
yeah,
of
and
itself kind of speaks for results.
that's how I feel. If I see an advertisement, I'm like, okay, these people paid to tell me this information. If somebody I know and trust already was like, hey, here's where I go. Oh, I went out to dinner. This place is great. I think you'd love
Hmm.
it. You should try it. Yeah. Oh,
Right.
absolutely. If I just see an advertisement, I'm like, well, this person paid to tell me what they want to tell me. But like, the proof is in someone you trust. It says, hey, you should check this place out. So that's what we do. We don't do any advertising. We tell our clientele to you know bring their friends if they want them to get in shape. And a lot of times people just, hey, you look like you're in great shape. What are you doing for exercise? Hey, I go to CrossFit. Hey, can I go to class with you? Come on in.
Come on in, we'll dose you up. The
And we have like two or three people who are like hardcore salesmen for us. No matter who they
yeah,
talk
sure,
to, they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you got to come in. Yeah, look at, I'm in the best shape of my life. So we have those people who just like have brought in 10 members each, and we really appreciate those people, and we make sure we take care of them.
When you sent me a bit of information about yourself, I know that your gym had been around for a few years, but I was shocked in a cool way. You said you've been personally using BTWB since 2010, I think is
Yeah.
what you said. And then you basically insisted that when you got the gym, that you guys were going to get on that platform. Why? I guess, in a world of choices, what made you latch on to BTWB?
A friend of mine, when I first started, I started CrossFit Hell's Kitchen in New
Okay, I
York
remember
City.
that name.
Yeah, it was a gym that me and my buddies were starting to mess around with CrossFit, and this gym, I went to a Globo gym, and they had a little open space that we used to come in and do the CrossFit workouts there. And we went in one day, and there was a CrossFit gym built in that exact space. And I was like, huh, they got all the stuff I need right here in this new space they just built. And then someone came over and they're like, hey, this is our new CrossFit space. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool. I'm really enjoying it. I've been doing the workouts myself. And they're like, but yeah, now you got to pay for it. I'm like, Well, okay. So they kind of built it underneath my feet one day. So that's how I got introduced there. And there was a couple other guys there who started doing it. And these are all like finance guys who like love data, they love metrics, they want
Yeah.
to. He's like, hey, you got to get in this app. It's awesome. You can see all the results, and got really into it. So I just started recording my results there. And then when I went to, I moved to Brooklyn, went to Virtuosity. They were using it, but I just wanted to keep all my data with me. I like that aspect of it, because in New York you move, you know, every 2 years, if you're lucky, maybe every year if you're unlucky. So I knew I was going to be at different gyms. I wanted to keep all my data with me. So I just maintained an account and just been logging workouts for,
You must have some serious workouts.
15 years now. I mean, some
20.
workouts I'll log them and I'm like, oh, I've done this 12 times.
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, I believe that. Wow. Okay. And so now, as the gym owner, you go from the individual user, what's the deal with you choosing to have the all-in-one to help, gym owners just don't have free time, falling out of their ears. Everyone thinks the gym
Certainly.
owner is just, what a great cushy job. You get to work out for a living. It's like, no, you're running a difficult business like 7 days a week, holidays,
Yeah,
don't matter,
yeah.
birthdays don't matter. So what was it that led you to the all-in-one?
Well, the all-in-one was just I wanted to be able to run everything off one app. When I told people for the first 3 years the gym was open, that you had to download an app to log your workouts, and you have to download an app to uh, pay and reserve classes. It was
Right.
like people are like, 2 apps. Oh.
This
And then
is outrageous.
I'm like, you got to download Hybrid AF if you want to access the door. And if we're doing the Wendler cycle, you got to download the 531 strength. And they're like, wait, 4 apps?
That's
They're like, I
awesome.
don't know about this place. And I'm like, listen, I'm not a tech guy. I really struggle with technology on a daily basis. So if I could simplify things, I want to simplify them as much as possible. And I was using push press, and I wasn't terribly happy with the service they provided. It was very, they're trying to automate everything, and
Mm.
I just turned 47. I don't want to automate anything. I want to just like, if I want to send someone a text message, I'll just send them a text message and be like, hey, how was your workout today? How you feeling? I heard you were sick, whatever. I
Mm.
don't I want to do things the old fashioned way. And like, if you get a text message from my gym, it's coming from me.
That's cool. That's
So,
very cool. Maybe one of the final questions for you. In Dripping Springs, is there good barbecue and cornbread?
oh yeah, there's tons of good barbecue.
Is there really?
Yeah, it's all over the
Um,
place. That's like,
oh,
you're not gonna find good Italian food. You're not gonna get a decent slice of pizza, but like you could find good barbecue at a bunch of different places. Salt Lick is like the most famous.
oh yeah, heard of that.
Uh, yeah, Salt Lick is probably 10 to 15 minutes from here.
Okay.
And like, you think 10 to 15 minutes in Texas, everything's 10 to 15 minutes. Like, it's 20 miles from here. Like 20 miles. The 20 miles used to be like from New York City to like back to Connecticut. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, 20 miles is like, oh, we're gonna get barbecue. Jump in the
Right.
car 20 minutes.
No, I
So
kind of live 6 out here. Everything's 20 minutes away.
yeah, so it's not far. We have another place in town called Pigpen.
Oh,
That's probably 2 miles from the gym, mile and a half maybe.
okay.
And
All right.
when I first came down to visit, it was a food truck,
Oh,
and then
nice.
they opened their brick and mortar place, and I went in there, and he's like, "Wait, are you the CrossFit guy?" And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That was a
Yes,
year and a half ago, and I came in one day and never saw you again." And he's
that's
like, "Yeah." I was like, "You got better memory than I do."
yeah. Brian, obviously you make an impression.
I mean, apparently, I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, if I head down there to check out Dripping Springs, I'll have to link up with you. I'll have to get some barbecue, and I guess I'll let Matt beat me in a workout, probably.
Matt puts a different score on the board than the rest of
Oh my
us. I'm
good.
like, well,
On my on my whatever was the best day I've had entirely on planet Earth, if I had my best day and he had his worst day, he would still mop the floor with me. I think he's just an
yeah,
animal.
I'll have a workout every now and then where I could where he's ahead of me, but I can see him.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't
Yeah.
he hasn't come around. He hasn't lapped me to where I can't even see him at all. Like he'll get like 12 rounds and I'll get like 10 and a half, and I'm like, oh.
I would consider that a win personally.
Oh, I'd consider it a huge win.
Right.
Yeah, he's a beast, and I usually look on beyond the white. He's on beyond the whiteboard, so I'll look for. I'm like, all right, so I know a lot of these scores. I know a lot of these scores are probably not accurate. People like, embellish scores a little bit on there, but yeah, things happen. But if I see Matt score on there, I'm like, all right, that's where I know like the top standard is.
Yep.
If I'm putting my intended stimulus, he's going to be like the best possible score.
Well, let people know again, Texas is booming. If somebody wants to find you, go ahead, self-promote. How can they find your gym? What's the website? Are you on Instagram? Any other ways to connect?
Yeah, we're on Instagram. We CrossFit Second Wave on Instagram. We have if you Google us, we'll pop right up. There's a couple different CrossFits in town. Well, there's two official CrossFits. There's a couple similar
pirates
situations. Yeah, a couple pirates out there. But yeah, if you're in the Dripping Springs area, if you want to come out from Austin, check us out. We have 6 classes a day, 24-hour access, and we every class you're going to be coached and taken care of and cared for.
Very cool. Well, Bryan, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you sharing a bit about your gym, and I look forward to actually seeing you in Texas.
All right, Pat. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.